So we're starting today. Gonna be a very short session. I'm gonna try to work a bit on networking and refactoring of the networking in the game. Actually enjoying. I did some last evening, last night. And really enjoying the the refactoring. There's been just a big push from me to just release, not release, I mean, that's a big word, but like getting out new features, adding stuff to the game. Now I actually want to do some refactoring, improve the health of the code base. I don't know how many lines of code we're dealing with now, but so far it's pretty satisfactory. We can have a look in GitHub here. And I have a PR. So far, this refactoring has yielded net of like minus 100 lines of code, which is awesome, without removing any functionality. So I divided up the code into like client-side stuff, server-side stuff. But wait, there is more. Because there are RPC calls a little bit of everywhere. But for example, spawn dynamic object, this should obviously live in the game scene, right? Because why? Because it's doing everything it does in the game scene. Like, why would it live in the network manager? It's better to just move this to the main game.gd and not let it live in the network manager. And we need to move client dynamic objects here as well. Yeah. This should probably also live in the game scene, actually. We don't need to do this stuff now. Yes, this is what we have to do. If not, is instance valid game scene? Yeah. Should probably also live in the game scene, actually, not in the network manager. I mean, on peer disconnected, yes, network manager, but deleting stuff, game scene. But let's start one thing at a time. Does this work? Game scene not loaded yet. Where is that printing? Why is that printing? Because if I don't do this, it's going to be an issue, right? That's going to crash the game if the game scene is not valid. Yeah. Let's do if is instance valid, else game scene get game scene. So why doesn't it load the game scene? I'm not getting any server updates now, I think. So if I try to attack this thing, I'm not gonna get... let's search in the code base. Network manager. No. Client. Client dynamic objects. this always gonna be in the parent, maybe? Get parent. Okay, so why do we get this network manager game scene not loaded yet? Obviously it's loaded, right? What the hell? So why do we get an error up? Oh, it's because it's the other way around. If... No, wait. Yeah, why don't we get an error? And player disconnected. Okay, let's try this. Game scene is valid and player disconnected. What? Why is it valid in one place but not the other? What's the difference? If is instance valid, game scene. What? Let's print more information. Game scene is... game scene is valid. Game scene name, but that's not gonna work if it's not valid, right? So my peer ID. Wait, is server. This is the stuff that Cursor is really good at, writing this kind of stuff fast, not having to look it up. It's like it gets removed. Game scene not loaded yet. Game scene is. Is it because of this? We're getting a new one? Or something? What the fuck? Alright, we'll print the same thing here. It's a mystery. Now when I disconnect. Game scene is valid. True. How? How? Um, okay, what if we do this in process? Yeah, if we can remove that then. This is a mystery. There's something I'm not seeing. It's like this is not working. Select the switch maybe. Switch. In. Packed. Change scene to packed game scene. Wait, when does the server change to the game scene? Maybe it doesn't. Guess we need to do that here. What about now? No. So what does it look like? Let's actually check in the remote. So this is the server, I think. It has a scene called main game. And this is the player, also has a main game. So why? What does it look for? Get a game. Oh. Is this on the other client that hasn't joined yet? That would explain a lot. Oh my god. That's why. Maybe we should have a variable to keep track of if they are connected or not. Var is in game. is in-game. False. If is in-game and not is instance valid. Probably, yeah, is in-game equals true. False. Is in-game equals true. Nice. Good. That was hard. That was hard. Git add, git commit, cleaned up, moved out stuff to main game. I don't think I reduced the amount of code now, though. What's the net? Yeah. No, it's worse actually, but still. Probably remove that now. Some print statements. Okay, now it looks good again. Some code golf going on here. All right, I need my Miro board again. Need to like paint out what all the responsibilities are. So this is like connect, disconnect. Another task is like keep track of dynamic objects. Right now that goes into the game scene. Which I think makes sense. And in the future, that might also be like loading maps, chunks. No. Connect, disconnect. And then probably the server wants to keep track of peers. Which player characters they control. How do I keep track of that now? Connected peers. I think it's just by the peer ID and the name of the player object. Instead of this, can probably refactor the tick timer to use an actual timer. Tick timer connect to... But yeah, this is not going to be a one-off. So it's actually better to just do a regular timer. And that's done in a different way. We've done that somewhere. There. Timer.new. No, wait, this is only if you're the server. So actually, here. Wait time, one shot false, auto start true, agile tick timer. I think these are by default, but we need to do also tick timer dot name equals tick timer. Connect to server tick. Will it just repeat? automatically. No. Shut. It will automatically restart. Okay, let's read the docs here instead. Yeah, here we see the default. We didn't see that in the other one. Let's print server tick. There are no server ticks. Tick timer created. Auto start is false. What does the init look like on this? Can I do... Can I write that stuff here, like auto start equals true? No. Tick, 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 tick. Perfect. That's way better. If isn't elif better? because we don't want to do the player creation stuff. This requires the game scene to be loaded. Anyway. Where else do we call this from? It's only here now. Which makes sense. The client calls. It's like, hey, this is my character name. Create my character. Git status, git add. Git commit change to actual timer for ticks. Still about minus 100 in lines of code. But this is great. Like this file is way, way better already. Is there any linting tools for Godot? Oh, there is. Oh, what about Godot tools? What did it do? If I do this and then format document. I mean, maybe there should even be like, okay, we have the network manager, but then maybe if you become a server, you have your stuff in one file. And if you become a client, you have your stuff in one file. Haven't decided on that yet. Used a linter. It's gonna be interesting to see what the changes are. Yeah, I just cleaned up deadlines, but that's fine. I'm actually curious though. If this one is any different. No. What's up, Paragen? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. This can be removed as well. I want to see if I can just create the tick timer in a better way. Like, is there some kind of constructor? It is create init timer, no, timer constructor. This is the same I've read. Is there a way to create a timer in GDScript and give it constructor parameters like auto start, etc. Right now I'm writing it like this. Helper function. No, I don't want a helper function. It's gotta have to be like this then. I think I need to also refactor or like revisit the whole thing with like dynamic objects. And how they get synced between server and client. Maybe let's paint it like this. Let's see, we have server, client, and then you have dynamic objects. And this gets sent over with tick. One way. Then you have like character creation. This is sent with an RPC call. I mean, the tick is technically an RPC call as well, but so that's how it works. Character creation from the client, it's created on the server, and then in the next tick that comes back with all of the other dynamic objects, and you get loaded into the game. Excuse the noob question. No, there's no noob questions here. What do you have to refactor in the networking? It's just that like I don't really know what I'm doing. And I'm getting to the point like the complexity is growing a bit in the game. So like adding new stuff is just becoming very complex. So for example, I want to add in the game potentially some like high scores and more capabilities. And when the code is just spaghetti and like I barely know how how the networking works, it's like, oh damn, why is this not working? Why is this not updating as I expect, etc. So I felt that for a bit, and now I'm like, okay, let's just go back into that spaghetti and like try to untangle all of it, like create some kind of order. It's gonna be way easier going forward than to just like plug in new stuff. And I just think it's pretty fun to go back and just like spend some time refactoring stuff. So yeah, it's like a combination of learning and also just organizing. Organizing is a good way to put it. It's like cleaning your room or your home. Makes it easier to find stuff. Yeah, building a good framework to work off. Yeah, exactly. Then we have other stuff. I think this might be a good way to look at it. Trying to paint it up like this, how I want it to work, and then make it work like that. Character actions are RPCs. That update directly into the dynamic objects on the server. And then that gets back with the ticks to the dynamic objects. There are exceptions though. So for example, damage taken is actually instant. Maybe I can paint that more like just another arrow like this. Damage taken is an RPC. God damn. There. This updates the the dynamic objects. See, already now when I paint this up here, it becomes a bit of a spaghetti. Do you program for work? And that's how you know how to do all this? Yeah, I do some programming at work, yep. Not like a hardcore software engineer, but I do programming, yeah. And I learned a lot at work, but also on my free time. I never studied any computer science, but I've always been interested in it. So I've learned because of, I think it's fun and like when I have the passion or inspiration for it. Yeah, so for work, I work as a data engineer. So this is like yeah, working with data and building systems that handles data, like reads, transforms, and moves data around in organizations or in systems. Not in systems, but more like in organizations. And I use their mostly languages like, I would say in data engineering overall, if I speak in more generic terms, it's like Python is very popular. Very popular. Then sometimes I've used like Java at work. And some like domain specific languages as well. Cool. I actually have to run to work, but it's nice chatting. Thank you all for tuning in, both the chatters and the lurkers. Appreciate it. And yeah, fun session. It's fun to just spend some time organizing stuff. It's actually really feels really good. Yeah, thank you, man. Take care. See ya.